welcome back again, everybody. Once again, my name is Keishira, and we are joined... Apologize. And we are joined by AKDylie for Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2. Whenever you are ready, AKDylie, take it away.
Hey guys, I'm AKDylie, and this is Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 for the GameCube. I'm going to get started real quick. There's going to be a lot of information to go over. Can I get the name of the character that we're going to use today?
Absolutely. That name is going to be Dexter, which was in the lead with 500 whole dollars.
All right. Sounds good. Time's going to start when I hit yes to start character creation. So we'll do a countdown and then we'll jump right in. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Dexter, we're gonna key you in as fast as we can here. And don't mind that. Let's start that over real quick. I want to get a taller character. I misinput just a little bit. But I did get confirmation. I was trying to enter in some extra punctuation to make sure I got the orange section ID, which allows me to get the drops I want to get on this run. Makes a significant difference for getting more daggers, which are worth more money, and they're better to fight with. 1, 2, 3, 4. And an apostrophe. Auto. Maximum height. Let's go. Now we're off. So the Hukasiel class has a good mix of accuracy and power. As a hunter, she's got a lot of HP, which makes run fairly safe compared to other classes, which have trouble surviving against the final boss and just tend to die a lot. If I take a death, it's not going to be at the final boss, but there could be some enemies that give me trouble. But generally, this is a very safe class, and I like playing this class because it has lots of different options, lots of opportunities to get little edges from playing optimally, lots of little opportunities for actually buy the items, lots of opportunities to get little advantages and exploit them. So I just went over to the shop to buy some recovery items. I'm not going to need that for the first area for recovery specifically. One of the long-term goals of this run is to feed this Meg helper unit to boost my stats quite a bit. So we're going to enter in Forest 1 here. The plot of the story is the Pioneer Project is a planetary migration wave that came in 2 waves, and the residents of Pioneer 1 were kind of like the vanguard, the smaller part of the population, and then the main wave, Pioneer 2, came over a couple years later, or something like that. But when they made contact on the planet, the people of Pioneer 2-1 disappeared in a mysterious explosion. And so now we, the Hunter, are being sent to investigate on the planet. And all we're finding is wildlife going out of control, attacking people on sight. They were supposed to be docile. Nothing like this was in Pioneer 1's reports, so it's all kind of peculiar. So, basics of attack. 3-hit combos. Every successive hit is going to be a little bit more accurate than the last. I'm going to drop down some traps here. This is one of the unique things of Android classes in this game. Have the ability to place these little bombs that go off and either inflict status effects or just direct damage. I don't need to clear everything in every room. I just need to hit certain waves to unlock the door. And that big Mo-nest there that was spitting out the mosquito things was what I needed to defeat there. We got a pretty good map here. There are different maps for every different level on this run. That wolf that just spawned behind me is optional. Hoping this freeze trap freezes that. There we go. This is a very smooth start. Oh, but the wolf cut me off right there. So ideally that freeze trap also freezes the wolf, but it got in the way and was not in range of that. But this is the first level done already. This was probably about as good as I can hope for. So that's Forest 1. There's going to be a second part of Forest, Forest 2. There's another, there's about 3 stages for each of these maps, at least for Forest. This is another good one. We'll probably cruise through this pretty fast. What I'm looking for right now in terms of loot is some sort of gun weapon. I could also do with other things like a barrier for evasion increase. Or maybe at this point a set of daggers, which I won't be able to use until the next area. So most of the critters I'm fighting here are variations of each other. These guys we'll see in some form throughout the run. They just come at me and they'll swing with their left arm or their right arm, either fast or slow. And for the most part, I can stand there, take a hit, and counterattack. And I just want to use a weak attack to lead off, and follow it up with a heavy attack. But if I'm feeling lucky, I can lead with a heavy, but it is less accurate. Let's recover there. I'm going so fast, it is not time to feed the mag yet, but that's what I'm checking. There we go. Feed that 3 monomates, and now I've got +2 ATP attack power.
Now, I'm not too familiar with this game, but being Phantasy Star Online, was this actually like an online MMO kind of thing?
Yeah, you can take this online. There are still servers online that you can get access, not official, but they exist. People do still play it on all the versions of the game, from Dreamcast all the way to the PC versions, and everything in between.
Wow.
Can I get... I can hardly hear the host, but that's okay for the moment.
This is a problem I do not usually have.
So I'm going to go back here, and another important thing that I have to make sure I don't forget during the run is to hit these monuments. There's one in the forest area, one in the caves area, one in the mines area, but I need to hit all 3 to unlock the final area of the game. And I am ashamed to say that I have forgotten them in the past in runs that were otherwise doing very well, so let's at least avoid that today, if nothing else. So this little bird enemy of the Rappy is totally optional, and if I take it out, it's going to spawn extra wolves that just get in my way. So I want to avoid using it, avoid hitting it, but I'm going to use it to fight this Hildebeer. I'm going to lay down a Confuse Trap, which sets enemies against each other. I kind of got out of position there. But the Rappy will do some chip damage on the Hildebeer and keep the Hildebeer occupied for me. And the Hildebeer is otherwise pretty threatening, and so I'd rather just not fight it straight up. I have not found a handgun yet, which is unfortunate, so I don't have an ability to shoot those boxes while waiting for this guy to spawn, and I can't hit him just yet. So I popped a damage trap over there. Ooh, missed one, that's okay. As it falls down, it's just going to take a long time to despawn. Now I have some time to open the boxes. Hopefully I can get some good stuff here. And it's a bust. Mostly just little pockets of change there. So we're going to put down another trap. There's a Rappy in back here, which will get one shot by that. And there we go. Now this is the final room before the boss coming up here. Something I'm going to try to do is always make use of traps as much as possible. There's not a ton of opportunities in Forest to do it all the time, but I'm always looking for new ways to do it. Put down a freeze trap, but it gives me a little bit of an accuracy boost. Ah, it's a pair of daggers. That's very nice. I'll be able to use that in the next area. This wolf, come on. We're on a schedule here. And then one more Hildebeer to go through. So every time I level up, I get a trap refresh, and that's why I'm always looking to unload my traps before I level. I can hit this guy at the right time, keep him in a stun lock, get him frozen. Okay, I missed there. I'm going to play it safe. Go around to the back. That was the right call. And it should be time to feed the egg again. No, I cleared the level too fast. That's alright. We'll get it when we hit the boss. So this is going to be the first boss of the game, the dragon. And at first it looks pretty intimidating, you know. You never want to face something fire-breathing that's 20 times taller than you. But this guy's got a big weakness, and that is all he really wants to do is breathe fire on me. He's not very clever beyond that. So we just go around to his backside and give him a little foot massage here. I'm going to try to do specific damage here. Yeah, that was a mistake, but that's alright. Taking the hit is not a big deal, but I'm trying to not get hit there. I'm trying to skip him falling down a second time. He'll fall down every time I do a certain interval of damage to him, and what I'm trying to do is skip past the next interval before he gets up. There's no way I got that. So I'm just going to play it safe again. Yeah, see, if you do enough damage, you can avoid him falling down again. And the problem is, I'm trying to start the second phase, but that can't happen unless he's standing up. So right now, he's probably already at second phase HP, but I just have to wait it out now. Yeah, that's alright, though. So he roars, signaling the second phase begins. And now I just focus him down, but I'm going to have to wait because he's going to fly away, tunnel into the ground, and do some sort of counterattack. So we're just going to dodge around for about 20 seconds here.
Typical flying, digging dragons.
But I can pull up the minimap here and just kind of pull off to the side. He can't really turn until he hits the center of the arena, so I just take a little sidestep, and it's not a big deal. And we're clear. So he's going to pop up. I just have to stay in the center of the arena to be safe. I'm going to walk back to his backside again and then finish him off. Ooh, big crit. I think I want to stand over here. So you can actually still take damage from the dragon falling on you, so don't do that. Just be aware of where your character is, and you'll be fine. I'm going to open up specific boxes that have specific types of loot here. I still didn't find a handgun. That's unfortunate. I'm going to have to spend money on a handgun at this point. The Barda, everyone's favorite technique disc, not going to appear in this run. Alright, but that is the first boss down and the forest area cleared. So next up, I'm going to do some shopping and talk to the boss to unlock the next area.
Is shopping a good time to read out some donations for you?
Absolutely.
Perfect. I've got $25 from Prof Ness. It reads, 500, Prof Ness redeemed Bless This Run. 1500, Prof Ness redeemed Curse This Run. 500, Prof Ness redeemed Bless This Run. Oh hey, it's The Run! Good luck, AKDylie. May the Techer, Weapon Shop Man, and Armor Shop Man not open a comedy club during the event. And, oh, say hi to Steve if you see him while I'm at dinner.
Thankfully, we did not see Steve, but, wow, I did not actually get a lot of money. This is going to be awkward.
Uh-oh. We also got $10 from Rakodactylus. Good luck, AKDylie. PSO was the first game that I put hundreds of hours in, sitting around playing couch co-op with friends for days and nights on end back in the early 2000s. Super hyped that it's getting some love at RPG Limit Break. Thank you so much.
Did I, not get a star atomizer off the dragon? It might not have dropped one, or maybe I just walked right by it, but I'm a little short on cash, so we're gonna just have to deal with that.
Uh-oh. Well,
there's a lot of flexibility when things go wrong, or, it's just gonna be a little less comfortable. But I was able to pick up this armor, and that's gonna give me enough defense to not get toppled by sharks. That's kind of the main thing I'm looking for, is to get that 35 defense point value.
not getting toppled by sharks sounds good. Well, if we're in need of extra cash, Justin donated $500.
Ooh.
There is no comment, but thank you very, very much for your generosity. We also received $40 from Drumbo of the Seventh Saga, and it reads, "Hey Kay, Faye, what do you say? No way. I did some quick math and I'm $40 away from $250 for the week. Gotta get in for that Buster Sword, you know? Best of luck to the runs we still have left. I'm want to zone out and let my mental sanity slowly restore itself, like a health bar in an inferior action game. I prefer my HPs to be listed in numbers anyway, thank you. I don't know what cool bid wars are still going on or anything that needs to be unlocked, so I'll let Kay decide for me, and I decided to put that towards the Meet Rosa incentive in Dragon Quest IV, which is currently at $190 out of 2,000.
So this is why I needed to buy a handgun, is this enemy, if I try to approach it in melee, will just get up and fly away. Of course, a handgun conveniently dropped right before this wave, so I didn't need to spend that money after all, but I had no way of knowing that. That's just how things go sometimes. All right, can catch up feeding the mag now. So this guy here, the Grass Assassin, kind of slow. It's actually a little bit bugged on this version of the game where it doesn't move very quickly. But it can cause trouble if you stand right in front of it, so I go around to the backside. This guy can hit me down to the ground, so we're going to go around to his backside. So the reason I got was happy to see the daggers is they're a 2-attack weapon, and the Hue Conceal specifically gets a very good animation with them. It makes it very easy to hit without taking a counterattack. You can keep things stun-locked pretty easily. So I'm going to use that as my main weapon throughout most of caves. That's the other reason of playing this orange section ID. You get more dagger drops, probably like 30% more compared to other classes. That was poorly timed on me. So it would take, a 4-second penalty for taking that miss, but that's all right. Gonna pop open every box I can find within reason. I'm looking for particular kinds of gear, like that frame might have more slots that will give me armor boost. This has 0 slots. But it's going to be pretty nice if I can find at least 2 slots to throw some power-ups in. So we hit a switch to unlock this door. No boxes, no loot here. That's all right. The next wave is going to be a couple of poison lilies. These are fairly harmless. They're just really obnoxious to deal with because they have very janky hitboxes. They used to be really tiny in the original version of this game, but they made them taller since then without really scaling back how fast they move. So their giant head kind of bounces around and can cause a lot of weirdness with collision detection. They also do that thing where they, when they attack, they'll be invulnerable. Yeah, I'm going to go check these, because I didn't get to buy a lot of mag food, so anything extra I can find on the ground is going to be helpful here. Another set of armor. 2 slots. That's pretty huge. And then inventory management's going to be kind of something I'm doing throughout. Want to keep the weapons I want to use on top and everything else behind it. And then also pruning things that I don't really want to sell or it's just not worth keeping in my inventory because I can find more valuable items. So I unloaded some traps there right before leveling. Now this is an interesting decision here where I can decide what I want to go for first. I didn't quite get the lilies low enough. They'll go into a little bit of a weird animation here where they'll expire after about 10 seconds and try to paralyze me. Now, I'm immune to paralysis and I would never stand near enough to it anyway, so we'll just let it go away on its own. And open some boxes while waiting for the next wave. So 3 sharks back here. Ooh. At level 5, I can start one-comboing sharks as long as I hit all my attacks. Just do normal... Oh, okay, well I missed. Normal, strong, strong. Should work. Now we got some power sharks again. These are a little bit scarier and a little bit more threatening. Just pop a confuse trap. Let them fight each other while I go collect all the many treasures on the caves here. Handgun +4. That's a good upgrade. That's all stuff I wanted to see. Let's get these guys to... Yeah. If they feel like they're unable to advance, they'll kind of turn around. There we go. Time to feed the Meg again. Feed a couple antidotes. And a monomate. Okay, we're set up correctly for the next one. Just go around to the back of the Grass Assassin. Keep daggering. Now, I want to try to clear these boxes. I didn't quite set it up. Well, it worked out. So boxes love to get in the way of things, but in this case, I couldn't really be over there to fight the sharks at the same time anyway. So whenever I can, if I can fill the downtime with clearing things that are getting in my way, get them out of the way, that's the ideal.
I love how the sharks have these little scythes on them. They look like scythers.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they're pretty much functionally the cave's equivalent of the Buma, so nothing new on that AI there. And there'll be other enemies that are essentially reskins of the same idea again. But most of the areas have something particularly unique about them. Like, you're not going to see lilies other places, you're not going to see these nano dragons other places. Nano Dragon's probably the most threatening thing I can fight here. If I play a little bit too greedy, it can counterattack me and hit me for 31 damage, so I'm never going to let my HP fall below 32 and keep it there. I don't know why I switched to that one. That's not my most powerful saber. I definitely want to use the saber plus 3, which does a little bit more damage. Probably about a little over +1 per attack. The numbers, don't think too hard about the numbers. DSO loves to use like division, dividing by 5, multiplying by 2 in various places, so +3 doesn't mean +3 damage.
You mean I don't have to do math?
I'll do the math, but I do not promise correct math.
It's okay. Calculators can do correct math for us.
That's what they were missing. They have an in-game keyboard for the chat function, but there's no calculator function on it. Alright. One thing I have to weigh whenever dealing with waves is, should I walk to something to go into melee, or should I fight it with a gun? Grass Assassins are a little too beefy to ignore, and they're a little too... in spite of their size, they're a little too dodgy as well, so just taking the time to walk over is fine. Alright, so we're going to be on a little bit of a break from combat for now. I'm just going to open some boxes and walk to the next area. I probably could have gone there. That's alright. Nothing great there.
Well, while you walk, I've got a donation from RP Priya, AKD, the cool dude I met at Fluffy Pancakes. I didn't realize you were running such a nostalgic game for me. I always get this mixed up with the other RPGs with PH Phantasy in the title. Hope you get better money drops later in the game. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nope. See, that's a cool thing that this dagger animation affords me, is that I had the ability to sidestep the attack just as part of my regular attack, and I timed that pretty well. If I take some hits, it's not a huge problem. I have enough recovery, and generally I can find recovery items along the way. I'm at 5 now, which is actually pretty low, so maybe this is not going as well as I'd like, and now I'm down to 4. As far as maps, the luck has been pretty good. I've had only best maps so far, so time-wise this is probably going pretty well, but I might have to dial it back if I have to return to Pioneer 2 to buy more recovery items. Getting the mag food, though. Alright. So I was able to feed an antidote right there, and I was able to get 2 levels on the mag in 1. And that's important because once the mag evolves to its second form, the growth for each individual item fed is a little bit less. So I wanted to squeeze in 2 levels at once there by feeding a very specific set of items in order. But that is the first cave level done. There are 2 more, and caves is kind of notorious for being kind of long, but at least the visuals vary quite a bit between all the different stages. The first one was kind of a lava-based level. This one's more like a wet underground cave. For each progressive area, the loot gets a little bit better. Okay, well, I don't have money issues anymore. That Tri-Grinder is definitely an option to sell if I need quick cash. I'd like to hold on a second Gibarda disc. This is a type of Marathon luck. If I was playing Force, I'd be very annoyed. There are rare techniques in the caves that are very important for Forces to find, the spellcasting class, and Gibarda is not the one that they want to find. They want to find the other two. So it's a bit of a meme to see that at any point. I'm going to drop a damage trap to there. Let me show you what happens in just a second. There's nothing there right now, but there's going to be something in just a second. Pop. So that was a Poifully Slime, and that has an interesting interaction with damage traps, that if you put the damage trap right where it spawns, it's a one-hit KO. So saving my damage traps for that wave speeds things up, because otherwise you have to fight them where you have to wait for them to pop up. You can't hit them until they're there, and then it's 3 hits if about 3 hits to finish them off. So I save probably 15 seconds that way. I guess we'll confuse trap this. That's fine. I leveled a little bit sooner than I was hoping for. I have sword now because I'm level 6. This is an item I picked up, and I didn't really comment on it before, but it's our first multi-target weapon, so now I can start doing big damage on big groups.
Is leveling too fast good or bad?
So it's not a huge problem, but sometimes I'm looking for getting trap refreshes at a certain point so that I use all my traps effectively. There were a few traps I left behind there. So if I was able to use more traps, in theory I could have done some of the waves faster, and I just wasn't watching my experience closely there.
Got it. Interesting.
Now, it's fine though, because I did expect a level in that room. And we're going to put down another damage trap there, shoot the trap to pop it immediately, and oh look, another slime. We'll put down another damage trap, deal with the lily on the side here, and just walk over here. So the slimes are not a problem as long as you keep your damage trap management under control. Back here is a free antidote and a weapon. And I guess we can open these boxes over here, see if there's anything worth looking at. A weapon over there. Just greens over there. We'll check the weapon. Dagger +4. That is a significant upgrade to what I've been using. So, gonna be doing pretty good damage from here on out. Now, the weapons I want to fight the boss with don't drop until Cave 3. So, okay, finally found a Knight Power. That was the other thing I was kind of waiting for. This is one of the units that plugs into my armor slots, and it gives me another 5 ATP. And the important thing is that it doesn't just increase my damage, but it also increases my base ATP score, which is a requirement, like the primary stat for equipping weapons as a hunter. So like here, I only need 65 ATP to use the sword, but 65 really? 82. I was looking at a different weapon. So there's a weapon called Brand coming up, and if I'm level 7 and I don't have a Knight Power, then I need to have 5 power levels on my mag to be able to equip it. You like this little lily head? We'll just keep that on screen for a little bit. Okay. So with the Knight Power, I will have no trouble equipping Brand, but the way I tune the mag is I will be 1 short if I don't find a Knight Power. But Knight Power is the most common of the units, so it's pretty likely to drop. What I do tune the mag for is getting 4 dex levels, which puts me just barely in range of getting autogun, which is the other weapon that I'm looking for in the caves.
These lilies are surprisingly evasive.
They are very slippery. Now these gill sharks are big, they're also pretty evasive. So the game, like, you'll see the red miss text, and that's just a RNG check against my accuracy and their evasion stat, and for whatever reason, when you block, like when you get a dodge, you get locked into a blocking animation where you don't take damage, but you can't do anything either, but enemies just freely get to move when they dodge.
That's
almost
not very
all.
nice.
Almost all the ways. There are some exceptions. Alright. There's in this version of Cave 2, you can't possibly miss the monument. It's right there. Just don't forget to press it.
I find it interesting how there are rainbows, and I'm not sure how those are being... Where's the light coming from?
Don't worry about it. It's sunlight somehow reaching all the way down here.
Yeah. Wait, why didn't I notice that earlier? Thank you.
If it's misting, they're clear, and who knows where the light's coming from? Maybe it's there's a mysterious energy source here that they call photon. So I suppose it makes sense that photons would cause rainbows to appear.
Yeah. Yep. Perfect sense. Makes sense. I just, I'm glad you told me.
So this Pal Shark that I'm ignoring is optional. In the online mode, more enemies spawn at once. And what they do for offline mode, at least for the first 2 levels, is just to cut out some of the enemies. So as a result, this poor Pal Shark got left in a wave all by himself, but he's optional, so I'm not going to deal with him until I can conveniently use the sword on him here. Okay. I'm not going to ignore you forever. There. Gonna check these out. Okay, that is another unit, but not really one that's critical. Thief Legs gives me a little bit more evasion.
While we're beating things up, do we have a little bit of time for some quick donations?
Let's do one quick one, and then we'll have time after this next room.
Okay, perfect. I've got $50 from Grandra, who says, gotta donate to one of the few games I've put thousands of hours into. Thank you.
Okay, so these guys are a little tricky. Interestingly, I did not get a Photon Blast. So ever since the Meg evolved, the number above my level and to the left of my HP has grown whenever I do do damage or take damage. And you see, like, it just went up from 88 to 97. Well, I'm not going to use it still at this point, but normally I would use the Photon Blast on this wave to clear it all at once. Instead, I only just now got it. It's a little scuffed, but the Meg is providing me invincibility, so I actually cannot take damage for the next 30 seconds. Man, I've taken so much damage here. I'm down to 2 mana mates, but what can you do? On to Cave 3.
Perfect. And we also have $15 from Underclocked Ostrich, who says, love to see PSO at Limit Break. And with Keshura on mic, take my money. Thank you.
Okay, we can use the Photon Blast on this wave, so let me show how this works. It's just kind of a slow wind-up, but it's going to take out everything in one hit, which, for these enemies, it's worth it. Maybe just a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
So now I can charge up a second one. Okay, we found Autogun. This is good. I won't be able to use it until level 7, and I need to get the 4th level on my Meg for Dex, so let's just catch up on that. I'm very far behind on. I might just go Pipe just to get more Meg food so I can use Autogun. And I need recovery items anyway. I cannot fight the boss with only 2 mana mates. But the Autogun will at least make things more comfortable, and if I don't find anything better, make it still like an acceptable weapon for the next area after this one. So I can feed the Meg every 3.5 minutes. I try to check at the end of every room just to see if time's up, and I have a vague idea of when it is going to be up, but sometimes I get distracted or things happen that throw me off my game. That's... I should probably stop losing track of where my sword is. Let's do some inventory management here. Sword down here, saber, daggers. Where's the handgun? There you are.
What are these, like, light blue and green ones?
The light blue with the question marks are techable items. You can take them to discover what their special property is. Like, has a like some sort of element or other status effect attack. And the green ones just say that they have something on a bonus damage to certain enemy types. So I can show that in just a second here. Alright, like for example, 5% on A-Beast for this handgun here. That means the weapon's attack power factor is multiplied by 1.05. So for some weapons, that makes a pretty big difference. Wow, really? Bye, monomates. And I was about to level 2.
Oh no.
But I already resolved that I'd probably be going back, so that's alright. So yeah, that Palace Shark I can ignore. This autogun is nothing special, that's okay. Any autogun I appreciate. Just trigger that, move out of the way. Better sword. So this sword plus 3 has 20% ABs. That is a pretty big weapon for the boss. So the sword itself has fairly variable damage. I can roll high, I can roll low pretty well, but both of those numbers, the high end and low end, get multiplied with 20% added on. And it's going to probably let me one combo. I probably can't one combo anything, but 2 combo for sure. Nano Dragon cleaning up here. I have a choice whether I want to use like heavy attacks here since it's working out. Okay, never mind. I spoke too soon. There is a little bit of a penalty for fighting at range here, so sometimes it's not wise to use heavy attacks for something the max of my handgun range. But I don't mind gambling a little bit on stuff like that, because the payoff is really nice for getting a nice rhythm. Ooh, big crit for the 1 combo. Now let's go back here. The Nano Dragons typically drop these soul atomizers, which are important status gear items. I've got 4 of them right now. That's a good amount for the next area. Yeah. I'm going to pipe here because I'm out of mag food. It is time to feed the mag. I want to be able to use that auto gun. And my inventory is mostly full anyway, so we'll just do some shopping.
Yes, shopping. I love shopping.
Let's see if these daggers are any good. No, that's okay. Don't need that.
Just a reminder to everybody that this is RPG Limit Break 2024, coming to you live from Salt Lake City, Utah, where we are raising money for NAMI, or the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI was formed in 1979 as a grassroots advocacy organization by a group of parents whose children suffered with serious mental illnesses. And they have maintained that focus to this day. So we thank everybody for all of your generous donations towards NAMI.
All right, so I don't have much money left, but I did hold on to the Tri Grinder, so I'll be able to use that to boost one of my weapons later on in the game. So it's not all bad. Thankfully, the Hunter classes don't need a lot of money after the first area. As long as you're not burning through your recovery items too quickly. It's not... A stack of 10 monomates for recovery is pretty cheap. And then you don't really need to buy weapons. You're going to find better weapons on the ground almost all the time.
So I noticed that you often have the keyboard open. Is that like some sort of tech?
Yes, indeed. I thank you for bringing that up because that is probably the most asked question about this game, and I always forget to preemptively talk about it. So the way things work with targeting in this game is as you approach something that you lock onto, the game just has a very basic auto-lock system that shows you, here's what you're going to swing at when you press the attack button. As you approach something that's threatening, like a monster or a trap, your character will take a defensive stance and like slow and approach it very carefully. And you essentially slow to a walk. But if you're not targeting anything, that doesn't happen. So one way to take away the targeting reticle is just to pull up the keyboard and then you move fast. So I'll pop it up and down throughout the run just to make sure I can navigate around enemies or traps very quickly.
Got it. That's interesting. Thank you.
Another thing that's pretty common is that sometimes optional enemies in a room will not spawn until you cross a certain threshold of the room. In this case, if I walk just about any further, a couple of pal sharks are going to appear, and I'm going to have to spawn them eventually, but they're just going to get in the way in the meantime, so I just want to hang back here and fight this at a specific range. So I haven't found a brand yet. That's the item I'd really like to see, but we're running out of chances here. I might just fight these because they have weapon drops. Certain enemies drop things more often than others. So I get a few more chances at a weapon here.
Well, chat, we had good luck with luck blessing donations earlier, so definitely bring us your luck.
Not time for that yet. Solemnizer over here, probably. Yeah. Let's pop that. Alright. End of the level. Time to unload some traps. Damage traps here. You can shoot them. Pop, pop. Take out 3 sharks at once. And we got a freeze trap. Sure. Ow. The swing into miss, into get crit, and toppled. Didn't find what I was looking for, but I can importantly finish feeding this mag, and I will be able to use my autocon now, so it's not all bad. But we're going to go straight into the boss. I have plenty of recovery because I did the shopping trip earlier. So here's one of the more infamous bosses of the entire game, possibly of the entire series. I don't know how it weighs up against people in other games, but like some might consider this an even more infamous boss than the final boss, just because it is a major difficulty spike for anyone that's new to the game. And the stats kind of back that up because it has quite a bit more HP than the dragon, and it doesn't even have that much less HP than the next boss. It's balanced very oddly in that regard. Excuse me. Sort. Get that on top. There we go. So it's an on-rails boss. I'm going to use every opportunity I can to attack it when it lands on the raft here. I have a little bit of time to do some combos here. This is going pretty well so far. I got it back up now. It's going to throw out a tentacle, and I just continue my combo. This is poorly positioned. That's all right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Back up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Nice crit. 1, 2. All right, I almost threw that, but that's anything you can walk away from is pretty good there. So that's the first part of the cycle. It's going to go around over here. We can take a hit here. I'm going to intentionally take a hit to build up some Photon Blast gauge. I don't know if it will come into play, but since this is going to be a slow fight, I want to get that. Since I didn't get a brand, the chance of quick killing Data Relay before the third cycle ends is pretty much nil. I have 1 Night Power that will help. I don't even have a barrier. I probably should have bought that. It's not going to make a big difference. So he's going to throw out some fire spike bombs here. I'm not going to be able to clear all 3 of them, but I want to chip Day Relay whenever possible here. Even the little bit of extra damage I get from the autogun is going to make a big difference, and possibly saving myself half a cycle here. So now he's pulled around to the other side. He's going to latch on again. We're going to repeat the same sword combos. 1, 2, 3. And the timing is pretty tight. Like, I squeeze in everything I can, and I have to make sure I'm not there too late. Otherwise, I take a tentacle to the face, and that's nothing anyone wants to see. Ooh, that sword was very good. Breaking this already is unusual. So that's about 1/3 of his HP down. So we're going to go to the back half of the first cycle now. He's going to crawl along the ceiling, throw out some rocks and other debris, try to hit me with that.
That's not very nice.
And this is going to be the slow part of the cycle. We want to avoid this part as much as possible, just because there are not many opportunities to attack him. He does not latch onto the raft for another 2 minutes at this rate. But I can still shoot him with the gun. Lights going out is a little concerning, but I can still see with the minimap well enough, and I can see well enough on the screen here, but it is a little bit tight, and I want to make sure I don't pull too far onto the raft to make sure I have plenty of room to move around. Whenever it breathes in, it locks onto my position. I just move to the side. AKDylie is just doing some quick yoga here. Breathe in, relax, breathe in, and out. It's going to come back up here and throw out more firebombs in a little bit, but not much is going to happen other than a repeat of that beam attack for a little bit.
Good to know. This boss reminds me of a Monster Hunter boss called Anatoleu. I'm not sure what it's called in English, but it's very, very not fun. We do have $5 from Iceburner. Have to show my love for PSO and its dedicated community. Good luck for the run, AKDylie. Thank you so much. And just a reminder that we do have some bid wars. We have a bid war for whether or not we are going to play Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee. Currently, Eevee is in the lead with $151 and Pikachu with $22. You also get to name the hero, the rival, and the starter. For the hero, we have Giovanni in the lead with $35 and the number 1 in the lead with $11. The rival has several names here. We've got... I wonder what this is supposed to stand for. Somebody tell me. We've also got Stanley at 18, My Dude with 16, 1 with $1, 2 with $0, and Brandon with $1. This is FHQWHGADS with $70. And the starter has Bob Ninja with 20, Clefairy with 20, Hoodaloo with 15, and Pikachu with 3.
So I popped the Trimate on the daggers. It's sort of like a desperation effort to maybe finish this in 3 cycles. There's not going to be many better things to use that on for a while, so I popped it now. It'll at least get it out of my inventory. The other thing that happened is I hit 100 Photon Blast meter, but there's only a 40% chance of getting invincibility every time that happens. So unfortunately, I did not proc that, but if I did, I'd be able to squeeze in a few more attacks because I wouldn't take a counterattack. All right, so at this point, like, it's all a repeat of things we've seen before. Still going to squeeze in damage.
I'm being told that Ganototosu is Plesioth and that name is Fuhuquagods. Thank you very much. While we're beating this thing up, I wanted to send out some love for our community artists, LLK, who designed the RPG Limit Break logo, and Mega Weasel and its Casa, who are responsible for designing several of the emotes you can access by subscribing to RPG Limit Break's channel. All of the revenue from subscriptions, bits, and the ads that we run are contributing to funding our annual marathons, and your support in this regard is critical to helping us put these wonderful events on year after year. Thank you very much. So are we at the very edge of the raft to save time somehow?
I'm just trying to stay out of the way of the rocks.
Okay.
There's less surface area to hit in the corner. In that case, I decided to use the Photon Blast. It does have infinite vertical reach, so it was only a 74 damage, but maybe it will make a difference. When you don't have an ideal set of gear, you do what you can. But now we're on the back half of the second cycle. So we're going to go through this for sure, and then ideally take him out on the third cycle. Ideally, I can squeeze in 5 shots here before I have to sidestep. My timing's going to be a little bit off. Yeah, we're okay. Maybe if only 4 on this one. Still want to feed the mag whenever possible, but it's a little bit... It does help that the cycles are about the same length as the mag feed timer, so I just have to remember to press the buttons. Okay, I'm taking more damage here. I'm a little annoyed that I forgot to buy the barrier because I'm putting myself into lethal range when normally it would do less damage than that. So, just gotta make... Okay, well...
Ouch!
Let's not do that again. It's only 61 damage.
Just 61?
I should still have enough recovery from here if I don't do any other silly mistakes like that. Nice crit. Timing is a little off. All right. Gonna see him jump over again. And then after he latches onto the route the next time, that's when I would want to take him out, but I don't think it's going to happen that way. But you can't really discount Dagger +7 with Night Power and Autogun. But it's going to be close. I don't think I'm going to make it, but we'll see if we have to spend another, like, 3 minutes on this fight compared to Ideal.
We believe in math. Did you know that roughly 1 out of 5 Americans live with a mental health condition? We at RPG Limit Break are proud to be raising money for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, a charity that works tirelessly toward cracking the code of mental illness through various means such as education, leadership, and increasing the availability of care. Please join RPG Limit Break in supporting this incredibly worthy cause.
That was really close. I'm glad I only did a normal attack there. Somehow I'm getting like a quarter step behind and... Oh, okay, well, never mind. We're fine. There was never any doubt.
In the end, math wins.
The Tri-Grinder was a good choice there, because with the daggers doubling up there for every attack, the Tri-Grinder has a lot of extra effect there. Alright, hopefully he gets some good loot, maybe a brand.
Come on,
or
Brand.
better autogun is good. That's okay. Like I said, having at least an autogun will make mines fine. And basically I want an autogun, a sword, and a brand. I have 2 out of 3. I won't complain. So we're going to talk to the principal, who's going to tell us... I mean, the principal all this time has kind of been like, we have no idea what's going on. You need to investigate. No one told us anything would be like this. And also, he had a daughter that was on Pioneer 1, and he, not so subtly says, like, hey, could you, like, find out what's happening with Rico, please? So we'll do what we can there. We have a sword +4, we'll keep that. And we have an autogun, so we don't need handgun anymore. Ooh, 2 slots armor, that is an upgrade. Okay, get rid of those. I definitely need money. Meg? Yep. I have no antidotes. 1. Oh, never mind, it was just 1. You can feed up to 3 at a time, I just wasn't paying attention to where it was. Okay, mono 8s. I think that's everything. Oh, wait. First barrier. Usually one drops, and I neglected to notice before. There's my Sire Armor, there's my that. I got a lot of extra junk here that I'm not going to go back to bother selling it. We're good enough for now. As long as I got a Telepipe, I can return to Pioneer 2 later. Under optimal conditions, I never do return to Pioneer 2 from this point on, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we did not get one of the worst maps, so from here on out, the game no longer has maps tailored for offline, so everything is going to jump up to multiplayer levels of enemy density. So it's very important that I have a sword for waves of like 4 or more. And generally things are just going to be a little more hectic because these guys also no longer act like the sharks and the boomas of the past. They're a little bit more finicky. You can knock them over pretty easily, but they also have more tricks up their sleeves in exchange. Glitchless, if you leave them alone, especially if you turn your back on them, will... Ow. They will shoot you with a laser, and that laser also will topple you. So I'm going to do what I can to bait out their little punch attack, because that also stops them from pulling out their gun. And I want to try to space myself so that I can use my sword effectively. The miss rate is pretty high with the sword, about 25%, so if I can get 2 swings in, I'll be pretty safe. So if I had a brand, I'd be able to walk up and, at this point, probably one combo any of these skill checks with a brand, but lacking that, I can still just let them gather up and then use the sword. One thing I'm going to try to do for setting up kills in general is, if I need to walk to an enemy, it's a little slow, but these enemies do move slowly on their own, so it's still faster to sometimes just walk up and take out one enemy rather than let them group up. But over time, things are getting a little bit faster, and that decision's going to be a little bit more blurry. So sometimes I'll let things group up, sometimes I'll go for single target damage. Ow. I noticed a little too late on the minimap that they were no longer walking, and that means they pulled out their gun. You saw that one. Alright, just going to check for weapon drops. Alright, we're on our way. So yeah, just even having the main menu open also takes away the targeting reticle, so these little trap hallways, not a big deal at all, as long as I'm not slowing down. So these Canadines are kind of annoying. They swoop around, and they can stay in the air, shoot down lightning at me, or they can try to get near me and use a little taser. But they thankfully do not have that much HP. Hello? Okay, guess we're going over here. Pew pew.
Pew. Ouch.
Fighting in the dark is tough sometimes, but I'm looking at the minimap as much as I can. I'm still going to try to use things like Confuse Traps. They're not as effective on Glitchless since they just topple each other and then they're not doing damage, but that... You saw that 37, double 37 in the distance. That's more damage than I can do, so it's... Oh. Oh. Wait, how did... What? I don't know how I dodged that, but I'm not going to complain.
By the power of math.
I don't think there was math involved. He just punched, and it did not hit me. Partisan is a very excellent drop. That's a relief to see this early. And with the 2 Night Powers that I'm currently equipping, I have a pretty good shot at equipping that by the end of the mines. I would very much appreciate it if you guys stopped using your lasers, but I suppose that's too much to ask. This map is kind of miserable because the Glitchless are tuned to use their lasers a little bit more often than other maps. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. If you get punched by them, there's a chance of getting the slow status. So that's one of the reasons I've been stocking up on soul atomizers. You can cure that pretty quickly. I put that on my button, on my A button, so that I can just cure that very quickly. Ooh, there's a brand. Brand +3. And here's a bunch of loot boxes.
Yay, brand and loot. What's the brand do?
The brand is an upgrade to the Saber, so it's just a better single target damage weapon. Let's fix up the inventory here, so I no longer need the Saber. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and sort that to the bottom, and then drop it. This partisan, that's not a bad partisan. Oh wait, I have 2 of them. Okay, the other one is also not worth keeping. Alright, so I'll be able to use that in a few levels. Partisan is basically the same idea as the sword, a little bit less on the attack stat value, but it has a much better animation and a little bit more accuracy. And so it effectively outclasses the sword when hitting things is more important than doing damage, because if you miss things, you take a counterattack to the face, and that's much slower. That's not the partisan I just dropped, right? Normally you do not see 3 this early. So here's the power of the brand. 1, 2.
Math! Wow.
So the Canadians thankfully do not have a ton of HP, and I can use that knowledge to pop them pretty quickly. Fun fact, they did have a lot more HP on the original version of this game. For whatever reason, Sonic Team nerfed them in this version of the game, but they didn't change the experience point value, so they are very high experience points for the difficulty of taking them out. Here's something a little scarier, the Cenobeat. Their punch actually reaches pretty far. Most other things, if you let them get close, you can just back up just a tiny bit and you're fine. But with these Cenobeats, it's not so easy, so I have to be very careful of them. Did you both just try to shoot me? How dare you?
Pew pew. I hear gill chic is a type of fashion trend in Final Fantasy IV. I made that up.
I think that's cool either way. With the autogun, I can't reliably high roll. Okay, 2 Sinnohs. This is a little scary, but I've got damage traps and freeze traps. Can just lock them down, deal with them one at a time. Now the brand is going to be more damage potential, but the autogun does attack a little bit faster, so it's not a bad choice for just keeping enemies stun locked. And especially since heavy attacks in this game tend to push things backwards a little bit, if I can get more heavy attacks off, then I have a better chance of keeping things away from me. This is a great wave to have a Photon Blast for. Unfortunately, I've been playing too well. This suggests I haven't been taking a lot of hits. Normally I would have a Photon Blast now. I didn't really mean to get punched there to make it happen, but there's the Photon Blast. At this point, it's not worth using, but I'm invincible at least, so I get a little bit of relief.
With the word invincible, I thought a song came to my head and then it was gone, so I guess you get spared.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, sometimes Kennedys just like to slip away like that. Alright. From here, I'm probably not going to use the Photon Blast on anything for a while. I might hold it into the next area.
So we just stay invincible?
No, the invincibility only lasts 30 seconds, but the Photon Blast I can hold forever until I go back to Pioneer 2. What are my trap? What's my trap count at? The annoying thing about having the Photon Blast is that it replaces my back command palette, which normally has traps on it. But, yeah, I'm about to level it. There's a heal ring that would restore my traps in the other room that I didn't go towards. But since I'm about to level off these guys, it's pointless to go for. So a canine ring has a bunch of Canadians around it, and it's sort of like a leader with a bunch of ads. But the Canadians still get full experience, so I can get a huge chunk just from taking out the leader and then taking all the rest of them.
With the leader around, do they not do the like little noom noom thing and
Yeah,
fly around?
No, they're actually a lot less annoying. Like they're like coordinated by the leader to. It just sends 2 at a time after you for some reason, and then if they don't, if it's still around after 2 cycles of that, then everything starts swarming, and it's really not something you want to see. But that very rarely lasts that long. Nice miss. The 25% miss. I gambled and I lost. And the Canadian's there to punish me. Can't keep standing there. All right. That's beautiful when you see all 4 get hit. More partisans. This is a fun wave, and I wasn't standing in the right spot for it. Okay. Since guild tricks always fall backwards from the way they're standing, not the way they were hit, you can kind of cause all of them to fall in on each other as long as you hit them too quickly enough. I do not need that one. So many partisans. You'd think of it as playing blue full section ID. All right. Just keep Sinnoh's lockdown. This, I don't think we've seen a Sinnoh Gold yet. It's like a Sinnoh beat, but it has the ability to recover itself and other monsters, so it's very important I do not let that get away. Upgraded my shield now. I'm actually looking for the highest defense value. It's not critical at this point, but later on it'll be nice to have as much defense as possible. Oh. Put that away. Oh, I'll check this. So many partisans. I've never seen this many partisans.
Do you think they're partial to partisans?
I am partial to partisans. I can't wait to use one. I just only need one. I guess I could check whether I could have checked whether the other one had better stats on it, but probably didn't. Because they already had one that had something on it. Oh, this is another little thing that can happen. So there are other traps in this room that I didn't walk into. The auto lock-on system loves interpreting your actions to mean, oh, you wanted to shoot that trap in the distance rather than the monster about to punch you in the face. So sometimes I might shoot something that looks like why would I bother shooting that? And it's not intentional. The game is just very finicky about locking onto things that aren't threats.
Ah, yes, I would love to hit the thing in the distance that is not an immediate threat to me rather than the thing that is in front of me immediately threatening me.
Same thing with boxes too. But at least with boxes, if you keep them off the screen, it doesn't happen. This level is, I would call, pretty fast, but high risk, high reward. There's a lot of guild tricks, and they love using their lasers on this level. Some levels, the guild tricks hardly use their lasers at all. On this one, it's, I call it the laser party, because in this next room especially, we're just going to see so many. Well, we'll try to mitigate that a little bit with this confuse trap. I'm surprised we haven't heard any yet. There's one. Oh, these guys did not get confused. That's unfortunate. Just gonna have to get them out of the way. The guild tricks here are optional. It's the Canadians I'm trying to assassinate. And I'm gonna have to just kind of keep my distance there. Dang, still not powerful enough to one combo there. That's fine. Doors open. Let's go. Okay, so coming up is a slightly different enemy we haven't seen yet, the Doob Chick. It's sort of like a zombie version of the Guild Chick. If you fight them directly, they'll just get up again until you take out that command switch, the Doob Witch in the center there. So I just need to hit that, and they all get automatically destroyed. In this room, the Guild Chicks are optional. I'm going to go for Canadians again, but I'm going to take out 2 of the Guild Chicks, as these guys love using their lasers. And now from here, I'll just work on popping these. I'm going to use a damage trap just to knock over the Guild Chick, if I can. Hopefully it's not too far there. Perfect. Buys me some time. I can use a freeze trap to do that, buy me some more time. Sometimes Canadians take a while to actually activate there. Do I have another damage trap? Yes, I do. That might take it out, though, and that would be sad if that happened. Oh, there's a laser. Oh, that did finish it off. Now I got more guild tricks to deal with. Just for keeping my keeping myself from getting overwhelmed here, I'll take them out, even though they're optional. Hey, none of that.
Pew pew pew.
Oh. Yeah, sometimes they'll pull out their laser, but if you get close to them, they'll change their mind and punch you instead. So if I see them in a punch animation, that's good, because I know then they're not about to shoot me. So kind of dancing with them and staying close is generally a good way to stop them from using lasers. But sometimes they'll get stubborn and refuse to change back to punching anyway. Okay, I only have confused traps. I should have saved a freeze trap for this, but maybe maybe the Guild Tricks will help take out this scare runs for me. So this is a scary enemy with missiles I definitely do not want to get hit 4 times at once with. Oh, well, this is unfortunate. We're going to back up here because this went sideways. The optional Guild Trick got taken out and it spawned a Sinnoh, and I don't want to fight that at the same time as the Scarens. So we're just going to leave that. Oop. I'm pushing my luck here. Okay. Hey, I finally leveled. Well, that works. So Garen's missiles can hit themselves. So I'm just going to walk around to the backside there, and it got taken out finally. Just have to finish this Guild Trick off, and that's finally going to be the end of this room. Assuming the Sinnoh leaves me alone. There. No problem. Ooh. These are very similar. I'm going to stick with the brand +3. Alright, another Sinnoh here. This room might look actually very similar to something we did in Mines 1. There's definitely some copy-paste going on in this game. Even some of the waves end up being very similar. But that does help with like learning things. We're going to hit this and hope I don't die there. Okay. I was not supposed to get surrounded there. Not only did I miss out on a lot of experience, but I did technically take a chance of taking a death there. Because sometimes if you get hit by multiple attacks in the same frame, you can get hit by all of them rather than just one at a time, where normally you get hit once and then you get invincibility frames. Ooh, nice block. Confuse trap. Same idea, cannonines are required. Guild Tricks are optional. Oop, didn't see that. Leave me alone. Okay, well, that worked out. A little bit of little frantic there, but if I can take the cannonines out, can walk away pretty easily. The Guild Tricks have the ability to punch with infinite vertical range too, so even if a cannonine's in the air, they can kind of just punch them out of the sky, and that can end up working out for taking them out fast. So that's why I use the Confuse Trap there. Here, these guys are optional, but they're in the way. Gonna clear them out. Come on. Which one was it? All right. This is what I'm looking for. Another Dupe Witch to take out those dupe chicks that were at the entrance there. Because this also opens the door. They're the primary wave for whatever reason. I have to do a little bit of backtracking. Those monuments for unlocking the final area in the game are extra well hidden in the mines on some of the levels. So you can easily blow past this one if you're not aware that it's back here. So I am pretty confident I hit all 3 at this point. We will find out after the boss. If I have to backtrack, it's just a little bit of time. Got a few more rooms ahead. Actually, it's really just one big room at this point. This is where I'm going to actually make use of my Photon Blast, finally. There's a big wave of it's like 6 Guild Tricks and 2 Dupe Chicks. First things first, though, I'll take care of the Dupe Witch. Just sitting there at the entrance, spawns a few more gill chicks. Now we'll walk forward and use the Photon Blast.
Pew, 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 pew.
Oh, that guy stayed back. How annoying.
He knew math was coming for him.
Oh. I guess I should have seen that coming, because I did have 10 seconds to think about it. Okay. Given a choice of what to fight first, I generally want to go for gill chicks first, because they take a little bit longer to despawn. So if I have to wait for other waves to spawn, go for the gill chicks first. Canadians just immediately pop. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, I can use my partisan now. Should have realized that. Please don't target the trap. Okay, well, we're gonna see what a Sinogo can be annoying with. Hey, just get 100 HP for free because I let it get away. But there was nothing I could do from that position, other than just don't get hit in the first place. Stop with the lasers. Alright. Thankfully, Sinogults don't have that much HP to start with, but things can go sideways if you get enemies staggered a certain way. I'm gonna go ahead and heal. 2 more Sinnohs. That was trap priority. I've been looking for a pair of knives, which are upgraded daggers. I have not seen them yet. That's unfortunate. It's a slightly better weapon for the boss. So 2 Garans at the same time. But that does mean extra potential for enemies hitting enemies. And that is much better damage source than anything I can do. There we go.
Did he just hit himself with his own missiles?
Quite a few.
Wow.
How many recovery items? That's plenty. So we're going to go into Volopt. Volopt is a very well-designed boss, one of my favorites in the entire series. First phase has about 3 different ways you can take it out. You can attack the core directly. I don't have the option to do that, but if you're a spellcaster, you can do that. You can also take out all of its attack pillars, and once you do, it will just go to the second phase. What I'm going to do instead is what I call proxy damage, where you hit one of these red screens, and damage transfers to the core accordingly. So have to use the red screens when they appear. It's kind of representing wherever Volopt is. And I can use the partisan to damage 3 screens at once. If you look at Volopt's face, you can see like 3 sets of overlapping numbers whenever I hit the screens. So it just shows that the proxy damage is working in triple. Alright. I went off without a hitch. Did I hit that in time? Oh, the miss, probably not. Yeah, that's okay. I expected that to happen once. So proxy damage on those attack pillars works too. If I get it in a stun lock, I can avoid taking any hits, but 1 hit is fine. I don't know why I was using this instead of the partisan, but the brand is an okay option. Let's just switch to partisan now. Nice crits. So I could use heavy attacks there, but they don't actually increase the amount of proxy damage, so we'll stick with maximizing the amount of opportunities instead. So phase 1's over. Now for phase 2. This is a boss that just is 1 big chunk of HP, but divided into many parts. So this missile launcher here and everything else on it, you can take out if you attack that, just that part. In practice, we're gonna hit maybe 1 part off, but most of the time you don't see much more than that.
Can this thing potentially hit itself with its own missiles as well?
Unfortunately, there is no self-missile damage on this boss.
Aww.
So what I did there instead was a little trick where I kept the missiles from spawning in the first place by keeping the missile launcher off screen. So that keeps things relatively under control. This is the big attack I don't want to get hit by. It's going to shoot that orb, and if it hits me, it traps me in a little prison and then fries me with a bunch of lasers for 86 damage. So this time I let the missiles actually spawn, but I stood underneath Volop just a tiny, tiny bit so that they grounded themselves instead, because they don't turn very well. Looks like I'm still outside here, so I have to pull back, just make sure I don't get crunched.
Crunch, crunch.
And this is a bit of a respite where it heals itself. It's really just healing its individual parts for a very token amount of HP. But that's nothing to worry about. I can easily out DPS that. So I just need to push in when it spins around, and then I can easily get underneath him for this attack and stay safe.
I hope chat dodged those missiles.
So this time I got stuck inside of him, but whenever that happens, he just ejects me when he starts crushing things, so I just need to make sure I'm holding the control stick to move. Everything's fine. I don't remember which of these brands will be better, but... Oh, okay, that didn't quite work. I got ejected, so just go around to the side, do the trick where the missile launcher's off screen, don't take any missiles. So this fight in particular is one where at the very start, you might remember I maximized my character height. Volop is sitting a little bit awkwardly off the ground, and if you're a shorter character in this game, there's a limit of the attack angle arc for the targeting system, and if you're shorter, that attack angle becomes a little bit sharper for things that are above you, and you can sometimes have trouble hitting Volop if you're, like, especially the minimum height Hyuga Seal. So, oh, no more laser orb attack.
Just like me when I'm trying to get the cups off the top shelf.
And it's, again, just a very quirky thing about this game where it looks like you should hit something, but it's all determined by whether the lock-on says you can do it or not. So if you see targeting reticle, you'll hit it. If you don't, you won't. So like sometimes I take a swing there and I hit nothing because I'm not locked onto anything. It hasn't happened yet, but I do like wait to see if it actually does do the heal phase. If you hit him on the frame perfect timing, you can cause him to skip his current action and go on to the next one. And sometimes if you skip the heal phase by accident, you get hit by the laser orb attack instead. Thankfully that part's already gone, so that won't be a problem. Alright, he's down.
GG.
I'll check the weapons. So again, like the dragon, then there's... Oh, that's not the Ren. There are certain boxes that are always certain weapon types, so I want the ones that are weapons. That's that one. I'm a little disoriented. There it is. Nothing huge. Is that just another random stardom razor? I got 2 stars. And hey, I hit all the monuments, so the door to the ruins is open. So on to the final layer of the game. It is the most stressful part by far. I'm gonna try to keep the explanations up, but I do need to focus just to make sure my spacing is ideal, otherwise I'll take a lot of hits. But if we have to return to Pioneer 2, that's okay. This map is not too bad. Which one was my 10% person? This is the one I want to use. What's my experience to next level? It's enough that I'm going to pop a damage trap here. So I'll get a trap refresh soon enough. So Dominions are more like the Boomas and the Sharks we saw earlier in the game, but they have a lot more HP and they hit harder, so I do... Okay, see, like, there I got lucky and got a block, but I can't rely on that.
Are we damaged by the puddles they leave?
No, they just have cool colored purple splotches they leave behind. Ow.
Ow.
We'll do a freeze trap for this. Here, trap management becomes more important than ever because you don't want to be taking more damage than necessary, and you don't want to like constantly be running away. So You have so many opportunities to mitigate that, and you have to, if you don't do it all correctly, you end up on the ground more, and it's just a little bit of a time bleed. So a Del Saber I haven't talked about yet. This is also a pretty, I don't know, famous enemy? Infamous? Ooh, okay. It's already trying to block, or already trying to shield stun me. When you attack from the front, a Del Saber will block your attack, but you can only do that for so much HP worth of blocking. So after that's exhausted, it tries to shield slap you and recharge its shield HP. So that's what was happening there, was trying to get me with its big shield hand. So confused traps, as you can see, oh, this one didn't turn around. Oh, okay, well at least I'm invincible. Varna, my mag, has been giving out lots of invincibility today. Wait, I'm invincible. I don't need to stand back. We'll just go in. Is this my partisan? Yeah. Let's use the Monarch Grinder on that. Here's my least favorite enemy in the game, the Claw. These guys get random invincibility frames. Well, they're not entirely random, but some, I know, sometimes they kind of are. They baffle me. Otherwise, they're very simple. They just fly straight into you, take a little peck, and then it's like a hit-and-run maneuver. And if you don't deal with them effectively... Ow, that was not smart. You can get toppled, even though they're not worth that much experience, and they don't have that much HP, they're still pretty big threats. I have another damage up. I'm going to level off this wave, so just pop that down. That's not the weapon I wanted. I really don't want to see the sword again. I think at this point it's time to clean up the inventory. Nice Ryuker disc. That's pretty rare, but not useful to me. Let's drop extra brands, extra partisans, extra soul frame. That's good enough for now. At this point, enemies will move towards me a little bit more quickly, so I can take the time just to set up traps, pull out my partisan, and then there'll slowly be a group in front of me. I still haven't found a pair of knives, which is unfortunate. That would be my preferred single target damage weapon here. Unfortunate miss. That was early. So yeah, thankfully they didn't hit me there, but they still did a little hit and run. So they just kind of move aside. But they do eventually come back. Now, I guess I am playing a little greedy, so this is now another point in the game where I have to choose whether I want to use heavy attacks that are a little bit riskier or normal attacks which just do less damage. Sometimes if I do a second attack, I can get by. It's only a little bit less accurate than the first swing with a normal attack, but my accuracy isn't perfect to begin with, so if I want to play it safe, I do want to hit with a normal, then another normal, and then a heavy. And that's pretty safe. I never found a soul barrier. That's also unfortunate. I won't be able to upgrade my defense any further. Unless maybe I can still find one in ruins. So the Dark Belra is a big lumbering pile of HP, and if I just move around it in circles, it will keep getting a little bit dizzy. Over here's a Bull Claw. The Belra is probably the most threatening thing in ruins if you ignore it. Thankfully, waves of just one Belra are not threatening at all. I need to get this autogun further up here. Let's do it like that. As new enemies appear, I'll try to call them out, but it's mostly going to be the same stuff for a while. I think that there's only like one more enemy type that we haven't seen yet. And yeah, here's a little bit of downtime. Just have to avoid the trap. Woof. You don't want to get caught by one of these. It not only keeps you in place for 4 seconds, but then it hits you. Sometimes when a mob spawns, it doesn't do its like initial little war cry. Like sometimes, most of these like Dominions will do a little like raise their arms and call out, but sometimes they just don't do that and they move out of sync with what you would normally expect. So I'm still feeding the Mega everything I can. There is a particular weapon that I'm looking for, being able to equip, called the Lock Gun, which is the 3rd tier of handgun weapons. Did that guy also early walk? Basically, I had no choice but to take the hit, so I just waited it out. Oh, and then... Okay. This is fine. We'll just not stand there. So the Chaos Sorcerer there is that spellcaster. And I will attack with that big fire attack, Refoy. Apparently didn't do enough damage to cause it to go into heal phase, which is good. But it can also heal things. Good job, Partisan. Bad job, Autogun. Let's not play with our HP too closely. 46 is not safe, so I want to stay at a distance. But I knew there was this heal ring back here, and that's why I was not healing. Definitely said I did not want to see this sword again. We'll get rid of it now. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that.
The sword coming back, saying, please use me.
Unfortunately, it's just a little too awkward when you're already having trouble avoiding hits with this Partisan, which makes it very easy to manage enemies. Okay, that was unexpected. The Dominion was able to hit me there because something else tagged it and stunned at a time I wasn't controlling myself. Tri-Grinder, okay. I'm going to go ahead and use that on my Partisan, since that's just the weapon I'm going to be using the most. And since it is a multi-target weapon, its value grows pretty quickly over time. I am running low a little bit on recovery items, so a return trip to Pioneer 2 is looking pretty likely, but depending on what loot drops, I might still be able to pull out going through all of Ruins without that, but it's sort of just up to drop RNG at this point, whether that happens or not. Delsabers love to jump at you. There's another one in the corner. I'm hoping to keep it deactivated. Fighting one at a time is much easier than fighting two. I should not be going for 3 hits combos. It doesn't really work. Yeah, shall we dance? There. Okay. Your turn.
He was jumping for the opportunity.
We're very good at our swordsmanship here. We just like showing off. Alright. That silliness is done. I probably should have no need to actually discard any more inventory. I was like cleaning up a lot of stuff I don't need. Let's I think that's okay. That wasn't a weapon, it's a set armor, but that's okay. There are some guaranteed weapon drop boxes, but I don't think there are any on this map from this point on. So here's 2 Balrors. Like I said, these are the most threatened things in the game. Let me show you why. Oops, a step to the side. I didn't see the damage numbers there, but you see there's one less domain than there used to be. These also can hit other enemies for you. That guy was not in range. That's alright. I was trying to lure him to get hit by that. Oh, finally a pair of knives. Excellent. So here's the single target damage I've been waiting for. Definitely less awkward to use than the brand. We'll do another freeze trap, it's fine. I'm gonna level in a few hundred. I got stuck in the bell, I was a little scared there. So if you spin them around 180 degrees, they'll get dizzy. But after they get dizzy once, you have to spin them 360 degrees before they get dizzy again. I think the one that just tried to hug me was already dizzy once. But that usually also means that they're low in HP. We can confuse trap that. I would have preferred they go for the Del Saber, but as long as the Del Saber's not going for me, that's good enough. So much easier to use the knives on the Del Saber. And a Sorcerer by itself, not that threatening, easily comboed. Whoop, that's not what I want to use. Soda minions, probably the second most threatening thing. They're big, they are not weak to fire from damage traps, and if they hit me, I will have to heal, just because taking a second hit will, if it crits, will take out my entire HP. So, very hard to deal with effectively. I do not need these daggers anymore. Get those on the ground. Well, I didn't get a soul barrier drop. My defense is not as high as it maybe could have been, but I still have enough HP and defense that I'm not getting toppled by claws anymore, which that's all I really cared about for the defense stat. Nice misses. Can we try that again?
The auto target really wants you to have this brand.
That's the other thing. So I set up my attack palette. A is the button that defaults to things to pick up, but I put my recovery items on that instead so that I will never be blocked from attacking by an item being at my feet. So that's probably how I would say not many people play that way. Most people put an attack button on, or put A as an attack button. But that's the one little thing I do just to keep things from getting in my way. Ruins 1 is almost over. There's nothing much more to say about anything in here. Let's check the mag. Did a decent job. I maybe had one more trap I could have used. Get these guys to take the Beller out for me. Oh yeah, if a Beller gets confused, it just starts shooting its cannon off. Ow. Thankfully, Bellers have many ways to deal with them. Oh, sometimes enemies, even after they're done being confused, will still hit other mobs. That's always really cute when you see that. I appreciate these antidotes. Alright. 2 more areas left after this one. On to Ruins 2.
We got $25 from Tim's Variety on YouTube, who says, as a 40-something adult gamer, I love seeing some of these longer runs that I don't have time to complete myself. Marathons like this are just perfect to have up on the second monitor while doing career work stuff on the primary. The fact that Nami is such a great cause makes it even better. Put donation towards attacking Linguar C in Dragon Quest IV.
So in Ruins 2, the loot I can get that I wasn't able to get before is a lock-on, a third-tier gun, and a buster, a third-tier saber. So I'm going to check boxes until I find at least the lock-on. I won't be able to use the lock-on until level 16, and maybe not even then at this rate, unless I get lucky. But if I can pull it off, it's a very big upgrade in just quality of life going through the ruins. Because you essentially have the power of brand, except it's a gun. Also, shot!
Shot!
In the glitched any percent category, the shot is the weapon you absolutely want to see. It's 5 targets, but a gun, and all the individual bullets have their own individual lock-on. And in the glitch category, you can do incredible amounts of damage and just one-shot most things in the game. So being able to hit 5 things at once makes you go, maybe not 5 times as fast, but pretty close.
So like 4.5 times as fast?
It's just kind of a slow weapon, so if you have to, like stand still after you fire one burst. That's fine to feed. I do have a Photon Blast. There's a new enemy type in Ruins 2 that I want to save this for. There's an enemy called the Dark Gunner, which I cannot hit for physical damage until it moves into its attack phase. And that's these guys right here. I guess I could use it here? Yeah, there are worse things. Just trying to center myself. Oh, they hit each other. Then we'll see if this works. Going into the Photon Blast at least keeps my... it allows my slow status effect to expire. So yeah, pop those, didn't have to deal with them. Otherwise I have to shoot them one by one, and it's kind of annoying to deal with. Those are more invincibility frames than I was counting on, but I appreciate them. At this point, I don't need to go back just yet. I might want to try to use up my traps first. Confused traps continuing to... Oh, okay, lock on. Okay, I think we're going back, like, right now. I want to get a Marksman arm so I can put that on. If the shop is nice to me, 30% chance, then I have a really nice weapon.
Come on, shop math.
Yeah, this is all stuff I might not need. Okay, what are we selling? I'm never going to use the brand again. Don't need that. Let's... No, I don't need to do that. Let's check this. Nope, just resist units. Just what I didn't need. But I can still work on everything, as long as I have a tailpipe. Actually, we're going to go ahead and use the Tecker. So, like, normally don't do this because it's slow. But I'm a little low on cash. But I have to identify these items to get a little bit more money off them. I can sell those and these. And as for traps, I'm going to go all the way to the med bay. It's a little bit out of the way, but 2 confused traps is worth the walk, I think, just barely.
I am, like, just watching you do shopping menus, I am in awe. They're very, very fast.
It helps knowing where things are, but I still have to, like, decide, is this thing worth it or not? And that's not always obvious. So yeah, autogun, if I got the marksman, or lock-on, if I got the marksman arm, I would get +3 and I would be able to use that right away, but I'm going to have to wait quite a bit, and I have to get more meg levels. So I think I got enough meg food to make that happen. We'll see if I can get it by the end. What I should have done is piped after fighting these claws with the damage traps I had, but this is okay. So I don't think I called out the bow claw specifically. If it attacks me a couple times, it will split into 4 individual claws. I really don't want to see that. So we'll take that out first.
Splitting into individual claws is against the claw. Ha 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 ha. Okay, I'll go home.
We can confuse trap this. If I go all the way to the trouble of recovering my confused traps, I better actually use them before I level. That worked out pretty well. Sometimes the domains will like get caught on each other and just keep spinning around each other and not hit each other. And thankfully that didn't happen. I do want to check all the boxes for like Buster. Buster is the other thing. Oh, hey, Marksman Arm. All right, now I can use Lock On. And as you see, it's more powerful than everything I've got right now. It would be very similar to the Brand. Maybe only Brand would be a little bit faster. But now I've got a gun that's as powerful as a saber. This Chaos Bringer is... Oh, did I not send them all home? Let's make sure that some of those go home. Okay. Chaos Bringer, kind of a scary enemy, but it has a bit of a blind spot. And on its shield side... Oh, I didn't quite get underneath it. So I didn't show that off correctly, but on its shield side, you can kind of just stand safely. If it takes enough damage, it charges up and tries to shoot you with a big beam, but easily dodged. So these other minions here are optional. I wanted to make sure one went back, because if I defeat all of them, then it spawns more claws, and those just get in the way. These claws are the required wave instead. I've got a lock on. Stop using the autogun. I gotta sort my inventory so that I'm always pulling out the lock on first. Let's do that now. Oh, the freeze trap was too soon, so it didn't do anything. Guess I had to fight these the old-fashioned way. Thankfully, dealing with these with a partisan isn't too bad, but it's kind of requires the right amount of timing to know how far back I can pull to attack from, because normally you're not supposed to attack them from the front because they'll block. But with the partisan, there's enough reach that I can just get around that. Nice. Now, there's actually a healing run coming up, so in essence, I did not end up using the confused traps that I went to the medbay for. I did forget that this was here. That's alright. But I'll recover my other traps now. Normally, I walk right by that. I have no soul atomizers? Oh, okay. We're going to walk around confused for 8 seconds.
Does the confusion reverse your controls?
It just makes you move in random directions when you're trying to move.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and also not productive for moving forward. Now, even though I can already use lock on, I still want to feed the mag, because every little bit of dexterity I can get off of this will increase my accuracy even more. Hitting is a pretty good thing to do in this game, so maximizing that stat I'm going to keep doing as much as possible. Do I... Yeah, I think I still will check for boxes. I don't think we've... Like, just looking at the time, we're doing pretty well here. And investing a couple seconds to maybe find a better weapon. That's a very good weapon. Will definitely pay off. So knife +5 with 20% dark, that's a pretty big upgrade to my melee capabilities in single target damage. So this is how freeze trap is supposed to work on these guys. Don't have to worry about them blocking when they can't move. Yeah, sometimes the camera isn't so great in this game. Oh. And sometimes it will swing around automatically and disorient you like it just did for me there. Going near walls and corners is a bit of a dicey activity. mech guns. Okay, we're not going to use those. They're a pretty good weapon type once you scale up to like high level play, but we're never going to get high enough level for mech guns to be worth it. So here are some more gunners. How do I want to deal with these? I've got a lock gun, I don't really care. Just don't get hit. So yeah, gunners will shoot out little lasers. I want to get these to go into the Demonians as much as possible. Or other gunners. Thank you, camera. I appreciate that one. There's a little bit of downtime for the next wave or so.
Okay.
Oh, gunners just shot each other. That is a thing that happens. The laser is very thick on them, so even if they're not quite touching each other, the collision is very generous on that laser.
We understand that the last few years have been a very stressful time for many people across the world, and this has put a huge strain on many people's mental health. In the United States alone, 21% of adults reported suffering some kind of mental illness. That's roughly 52.9 million people. Please remember to reach out for help if you feel like you need it. You are not alone.
Pull back. That's another confused trap. I really do not want to get hit by that when I don't have any soul risers.
And just a reminder that there are several bid wars for the next run coming up. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee. Definitely take a moment to look at what you can donate towards in order to get your voice heard. Is that a centaur?
Yep, the Chaos Bringer. This is the guy with that big blind spot. So I was just standing underneath its big shield arm, and it tries to swipe with its other arm, and it just can't quite reach under its shield. That was one of the better Ruins 2 maps. We're making pretty okay time here. So last area of the game before the final boss, Ruins 3. The surrounding area has gotten progressively more and more creepy. Like, and now you're going to start seeing like pulsating biomasses on the walls. I haven't talked much about the plot. There's not really much to say when we're not doing the side quests in this game, but as we venture on the planet Rigol here, we started in the forest area, which is where Pioneer 1 had made its residence, building the central dome. But underneath the central dome was that cave system we went through, and that was the thing that Pioneer 1 made no mention of to Pioneer 2. So we've just kind of been going down the rabbit hole ever since then. And we finally ended up in what is this apparently like some sort of ancient spaceship that also I think it was revealed, or will be revealed shortly, that it's containing some sort of very dangerous entity that was like sealed up and then sent away, and it kind of just crashed on this planet and was buried underground until Pioneer 1 dug it up. So good for them. They maybe didn't want to do that after all, because they kind of got the short end of the stick from doing that.
So are we part of Pioneer 2?
Yep, Pioneer 2 is the main wave that came, and as soon as Pioneer 2 landed on or approached orbit, they established contact with Pioneer 1, and there was some sort of explosion, then all communication was lost, and that's the lead into the game. I guess I'll take that. I might need money. Hyperframes are not bad for money. Ah, 7 claws. Thankfully, damage traps plus a few partisan swings cleans them up pretty fast. Ow. Another lock-on. I don't need another lock-on. Just make sure to stay clear of that Belrod. So that time I knew I wasn't actually going to get hit because the claw had just pecked me, and I was counting invincibility frames. But I could have looked silly if I miscounted.
Instead, you looked cool.
I'd like to think so, anyway.
Chat thinks so.
Thanks, chat. Varna has been absolutely on fire, giving me invincibility most of the time today. Let's see. I can use the Photon Blast, and if I can get these guys to group up. Let's see if they cooperate. Ow.
Ow.
Let's see if I can get this guy to get a little closer. Okay, 3 is good enough to go for him. There's not much else to use the Photon Blast except other gunners later on, and generally I only get 2 if I go for that one. So if I can get 3, this is a better value in my opinion. Very important that I tag that guy there, otherwise I can kind of just stall out after the other ones go away. The way the gunners work is there's a red one that gets marked as the leader, and they kind of rotate between which one's which. But if you destroyed the leader with a Photon Blast very suddenly like that, sometimes the leftover green ones just kind of hang there for 5 to 10 seconds. Ow. So I'm still looking for a Buster, which is that upgraded saber weapon, but these knife plus 5 with 20% dark is almost as good. In fact, it might be better than a base Buster. It's pretty subjective. So I'm pretty much set for endgame here at this point. I can still get some upgrades, but they're not critical. It's looking like I'm going to miss hitting level 16, or it's going to be very close. I can make a choice to maybe fight some extras to make up the difference, but I don't think it's worth it, since I already have a good pair of knives. Oh, the Soda Mini with its huge body, got stuck just a little bit on that Sorceress attack crystal there, and that allowed me to escape. Unfortunately, I still missed and got hit. I always want more damage traps to deal with these claw waves, but I only get 3 every level at this point.
We did the math for the damage with the levels and stuff, and it's looking pretty knife.
I can't top that. Oop, good block. I like to call them skill blocks, but who am I kidding? It's all RNG, but maybe we can just say I'm really good at manipulating the RNG sometimes, even though it would be nice to know how to do that. But there's still a lot about the inner workings of this game that are still being discovered to this day. I guess I haven't really brought it up. Early on, there were like 3 different variations of like the forest, and that kind of applied to the caves as well for each of the stages. Once we got to Mines and Ruins, there's 6 different possibilities, and that's what makes PSO runs pretty cool, is that besides the random drops for loot, no 2 runs are really going to look the same because you end up playing on different maps, and even though the maps have the same configurations when you load into them, you just don't know if you're going to get something that requires you to hold things for something that you just don't know what's coming until you get there. This set of Ruins maps actually overall pretty positive. One of the things that makes the runs go closer to like whatever the estimated time was, I think I put 220 on that, as if you get a lot of bad maps, then you don't get a lot of good gear. Thankfully, I've gotten a pretty good set of both. Good enough. So I'd say we're about halfway through Ruins 3 at this point. This is another room where if I cross too far into it, it's going to spawn some extras, so I'm being careful to hang back.
Now I have a silly question that's kind of definitely silly to ask at this point in the run, but what exactly is a mag?
It's a helper robot. I did not time this right. Oh, wait. No. I was too busy staring at that photon drop, which is a cool little rare drop that if you play online, there's all sorts of things you can do with it, but offline it's just worth a little bit of money. Ow. I want to say it's like a 1 in 1250 drop.
Wow.
So, yeah, not completely unlikely to see one, but most runs you don't. Oh, finally got Buster. I probably will not be able to use it. Unless... Now, even if... No, I guess if I get level 16, then I will be able to. It'll be close. I'm not going to go out of my way for it, though, because I don't think it's worth it. But if I can get it, it is a damage increase, especially if it is got any percents on it, and I'll check. Alright, it's charging up to counterattack, just sidestep. Mono fluid. Okay, normally they drop Trimates. I got shorted. Oh, this Buster was almost good. It's okay. Shoot the claw. Wow, I didn't even need to shoot the claw myself. The Bellra just took it out all on its own.
The Bellra was just listening to your instructions.
It's a good Bellra. Bellras actually are pretty easily controllable on this version of the game because they're bugged in a sense. Every other version, they don't shoot directly at you, but on the US original version of the GameCube release, they shoot straight at you. And that's dangerous, but it's also incredibly helpful for that kind of situation. If you ever play Ultimate difficulty, though, it's very annoying because the upgraded version of Bellras in the higher difficulties will just constantly fire their rockets, so you don't really get much chance to breathe at all. They fixed that in the re-release called Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Plus, which is, in today's terms, a patch. But back in the year like 2002, 2003, they didn't really have the ability to patch games because it was still GameCube. They had online capabilities, but no way to send updated programs. At least not that were permanently saved. Getting Dex level 11 on the Meg means I've done a pretty good job overall on keeping up with that. Usually hit level 23, like 22 to 24 by the end of the game. Wrong way. This way. No, I guess I can pick that up. It's a Gigish. That's an upgraded sword, but the attack power requirement is too high. And swords are still awkward, so not going to use that. I didn't stand in the right spot. That sorcerer spawned over there, but that's fine. It's important that I keep moving. There's a Bellra on the other side, and even though there's that big wall in the way, I can get hit through that. So just keep moving. Do I have extra telepipes? I do. So I'll just put down a safety pipe just in case. Ooh. Almost Photon Blast time. Oh. I figured I would see it, but I didn't see it. Anyway, I got the Photon Blast. That's fine. I'll use it to take out 2 of the gunners here. How am I on recovery? I got 3 monomates. And 8. Ooh. How many trimates? 5? Okay. I'm making a decision whether I'm going to return to Pioneer 2, and I think at this rate I can go for it without returning.
Lots of math on RPG Limit Break today.
Fortunately, this gunner went to like the complete opposite side of the room than I wanted him to go to, but this is the final wave I have to deal with. A bringer and 2 soda minions. Ow. I was gonna sidestep. Okay, maybe let's just play it safe now. I was like just on the cusp of saying maybe go back. We'll just play it safe. Especially if that Bellra hit me one more time. finish each other off for me? Oh, I guess he... okay, we're fine. Just for not doing anything embarrassing, there's a chance the final boss can just keep spamming attacks on me over and over. It doesn't happen too often, but if it does, we'll be ready for it. Just max out on recovery and then just go. I could also... Nah, we don't need to go for level 16. I am pretty close, though. Alright, that's plenty of money. Get that, and we're good. And I even have an extra telepipe. Good. So just in case something goes really wrong, I can retry the fight without walking through all of Ruins 3 again. Alright, coming up on the final boss. We are seeing the... We're kind of approaching the impact point of maybe where the... I don't know, it's kind of weird. You're in this underground buried spaceship and then suddenly you're on the surface? I don't know what's going on. Let's make sure our stuff is set. So there are 3 phases of the boss. As soon as you approach this monument here, everything gets really creepy really fast. Phase 0 is just a bunch of minions flying around, and I just need to tag 3 of them. I don't do a lot of damage, but if you get surrounded, you can take a lot of damage really quickly, so don't want to linger there. And here's Dark Falls, the ultimate evil that was sealed in the spaceship. Right. Was a little out of position. Want to hit him as much as possible when he puts his head down, but I got to clear these out of the way. And then just be careful with my HP. Rafoy does like roughly over 100. And they can also shoot a Rabarda ice attack. That's the more threatening one. More damage, and it can freeze me. He did a nice thing, though. He's moved over to the side here, and he's not facing the center of the arena, so he's not going to attack on this cycle. Just going to shoot these out and then move again. Knife him. I just have to be very careful where he moves. Yeah, let's not fool around with this. If he moves a certain way, you can get swept into a corner, and then it's at best very awkward to deal with. So you don't want to like end up in that little corner where on that southeast side right there. So all you'd be able to do is use your gun, and then you wouldn't be able to clear these guys out. HP is fine. Okay, got to break out of freeze. I made a mistake. This is why I put down the safety pipe. I was supposed to heal twice, but I only tapped the A button once. If there was a time to fail in the fight, though, earlier is better. It's only a few minutes lost. I'm just going to buy another telepipe just in case that happens again.
It's just a ton of money laying on the ground for you.
Yeah, I drop it here so that I don't lose it when I die.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I was hoping to go deathless. Unfortunately, it was just a minor mistake, and I danced with death a little bit too closely. But we can retry, no problem here.
You know, chat, AKDylie is just giving you a chance to get your donations in for several of these bid wars that will be cut off before the start of the next run, which is Pokemon Let's Go Eevee or Pikachu. We've got the version, hero name, and rival name that need to be cut off before the start of that run. So if you are interested in swaying any of the decisions, definitely get your donations in.
So when these ads show up again, they're going to be in the same spots they were before, so I can use that knowledge to get a little bit of an advantage. This time, if I take damage, I'm just going to mash that A button. Ah. Slippery. There. Double heal is important. And with the gear I have, it's going to be like just over 3 cycles to get to phase 2. Or I guess phase 3. There is a 4th phase you can fight, but only appears on the higher difficulties, so it doesn't appear in any percent. Okay, he didn't follow up, so I was safe anyway, but when I get frozen, I have to mash my control stick left, right, otherwise I don't get any invincibility frames regardless, and I can't use healing items until I break out of freeze. Okay, he's not facing this arena again, so I'm safe for now. Definitely make way for falls. Oop. Okay, now he's facing the center again, so I'll get attacked this time. I don't think I'll clear him in time. Okay, he's using a big attack. We know he's below half health, but I was pretty sure of that. Ow. Thankfully, Hunter classes have plenty of HP to survive that. If I was a Force class, it's a lot dicier. But it's 130 damage, the biggest attack in the game. But I've got plenty of HP as long as I'm at full. Oh, we hit level 16. So the ads, strangely enough, give experience points. I fought enough of them to just barely hit level 16, and this is neat. We can try the Buster. I don't need the lock-on anymore, so I'm going to switch off of my Marksman arm and onto my Knight Power now. And we can just do a little damage comparison here. So yeah, now I've got just barely enough attack power to use this Buster. The Buster is at least easier to use. Oh, you can't attack him when he ducks down like this. Stay out of the way of the Rebardo. If you thought one Rebardo was bad, getting hit by multiple will end me very quickly. So that is the one thing that I absolutely have to watch out for. Everything else is pretty routine. At the very least, the Buster has better reach. Left arm is Rebardo. Ow. 66. The Refoy is basically undodgeable, but it won't be a problem. The damage is very similar between these two. I keep walking into that. Not a great idea. He's dragging this out. What I really want to see is him use that big purple beam attack again, this thing. So it pounds the ground. If I was a human or Newman class, I would get slowed by that, but for whatever reason, androids are immune to that attack. And then he launches that purple beam again, but since it can't kill me, all this does is expose him to counterattack.
Androids are immune to the color purple.
Well, to be clear, I'm still taking lots of damage, and that is also helping me charge this Photon Blast. So I could choose to use that to dodge one of the hits. Don't need to, though, but if I can squeeze that in, I can avoid the hit and then hit him back. This is probably just more showing off. It's not great DPS, but if I was concerned about my healing items, it would save one for sure. Oh, that was Refoy.
Ouch.
If I see Refoy, then I want to head back instead of try to dodge, because then I have wasted time getting back again. That's Roberta, though. Okay, so time will be coming up. It's not when Falls is defeated, but I'll enter the teleporter afterwards. But we're getting pretty close. He's at least 2/3 dead, probably more. Cannot believe I got hit by that. Okay. I can believe it. I'm really bad at dodging that. All right. Not the cleanest fight ever, but I will take it. I got to use a buster. And a red ring that may have belonged to the principal's daughter was left behind. And time.
GG.
That is Phantasy Star Online, episode 1 and 2 for the GameCube. Episode 2, it's also a fun speedrun. Not going to show that today. That's much more dicey than this one. But this was fun, guys. That's, I think, everything for me.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, AKDylie, for that wonderful run and for entertaining my questions along the way. I've never seen that game before, so it was definitely fun to watch. And just a reminder to everybody that you are watching RPG Limit Break 2024. We are proudly supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and NAMI serves as a preeminent resource for people searching for life-changing guidance, information, and support as they navigate their mental health conditions. Their website alone serves over 12 million unique visitors annually, and you can visit them at nami.org. That's NAMI.org. Thank you again, everybody, for having me. I was Kay Shura, and we are going to be playing some ads for you before going into an interview. Next up, you'll have Stumpy with you, and they'll be sure to take great care of you. Everybody have a great day.
Hello, speedrun fans. My name's Stump. I use the he pronouns. And
Hello, everyone. My name is Corvame, and I am joined here by SUMDeaner, Anatoleu, and TheCowness, who tomorrow morning are going to be taking us through Dragon Warrior 4. Now, that's not a race.
No.
And it is kind of co-op, but not co-op in the way that we traditionally think of it. Would you all care to explain?
Yeah, so it's going to be more like a relay. We've split the game into 6 different sections, and we're just going to rotate through it. I do the first, and Anatoleu, Diener, and then we go one time more through. Then, Diener will be fighting the final boss.
So this is the original NES release of Dragon Warrior 4, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
And so that has 5 chapters.
Yes.
What are the challenges that we're going to expect to see for each of the 5 chapters?
Yeah. You want to talk about chapter 1?
Yeah, sure. So, chapter 1 is a very simple chapter. You got one character that's just like a melee fighter, and then you've got your friend Healy, who is controlled by AI, and he heals you. So, a lot of the difficulty of the final boss of that chapter is that you can't directly control Healy. So, you do your best to defeat the boss and keep Healy alive, and while he's trying to keep you alive. And that's a big reset point in normal speedruns. So.
Yeah, and then we'll have chapter 2 right after that. And chapter 2 is probably the most notorious or infamous part of the whole run for just kind of being very difficult to get through in a consistent manner. So we're going to have to hunt down one metal slime, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then we also have to go through a tournament where Princess Alina, the fighter character, has to go one-on-one through 5 consecutive battles.
Yeah, okay.
Which is really, really fun, but also can be very challenging in the speed run.
That makes sense.
I'll be taking over for chapter 3. And chapter 3, what's the hard part of chapter 3? Not getting sapped by duck's bills?
There's a lot of math.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Chapter 3 is actually a very peaceful kind of chapter. We don't need to do a lot of fighting, and it's actually one where I wouldn't say have a lot of challenges other than just staying focused and getting through it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and then so moving on to chapter 4, that's another one that's kind of short. It's got a couple of stretches where you need to walk through a dungeon and not die before the end, like some resource management at very low levels. All 4 of the first 4 chapters you're doing at pretty low levels, because at the start of each one you get new characters and they're all level 1. So we tried to get to the end as quickly as possible, as low level as possible. And the boss of chapter 4 is one that you might die to once or twice, but it's real quick to get back to him.
Yeah, and then we'll get into chapter 5. And chapter 5 is actually over half the game.
It seems long.
Yeah. So chapter 5 is in such a way that we'll still each be playing different parts of chapter 5.
Okay.
And I think each of us has, something that's going to be pretty challenging. You're going to be facing off in the lighthouse. Anatoleu is going to have some powerful bosses, some difficult dungeons, and the metal babble grind.
Yeah.
And then I'll be closing it out with the stretch at the end where we face the final bosses, some of which can be very powerful and very dangerous, requiring us to have some good strategies and be a little bit proactive about decision making along the way.
So are the 5 chapters all completely separated, or does one start to affect the rest going through the game?
Yeah, the whole thing is interconnected.
Okay.
So the actions you take in the first chapters really cascade through the run. So how strong your characters are by the time you're finishing the chapters, or any items you're bringing through, that all kind of carries forward. So there are a lot of different things that can really happen in chapter 5 depending on what we do in the first 4 chapters, and we're all coordinating really closely on that to make sure we know what to expect when we get there.
Yeah, and I guess you wouldn't know for hours, right?
Yeah, it's primarily chapter 5 that's affected, because that's where you collect all the characters from chapters 1 through 4, but there are also some treasure chests that you can collect in early chapters, or leave them shut with the treasure in them and collect them in chapter 5, which we'll be doing some of.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So how did you all decide who's going to do what part of the run? Because originally I was like, oh, there's 6 chapters, so it's 2 to be 2, 2, 2. No, that's the remake.
Yeah.
So it doesn't quite line up perfectly. How did you all decide on that?
Yeah, and the chapters themselves are variable in length and stuff like that. So we're all pretty familiar and experienced with the run, and we all wanted to see some of chapters 1 through 4 and some of chapter 5. So we broke it up into 6 pieces, and we took turns picking which part we wanted to play the most. So it's really cool. I think that all of us are getting to play a part of the game that showcase a part of the game that we're really excited to play.
Cool. So we talked about those pivotal moments that are going to come up through the run. Is there anything that you're really worried about happening?
Yeah, Dragon Warrior 4 is I think the thing that is sort of famous about the speedrun especially is that the randomness and the range of just like how great it can be and how bad it can be is really extreme, just like really wide. So we're happy if we're in the middle or if things are going great. And there are a lot of places where things could just go really bad and there's very little we can do about it. We're just, stay, just kind of focused on it and, stay positive and you'll get through it. But sometimes the game really puts up a pretty high wall in front of you.
Yeah, like I mentioned, there's a couple of bosses and a couple of dungeons that we just kind of expect to die to once or twice in an average run, and that's why our estimate is like an hour and a half slower than any of our PBs.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Just things will go wrong.
Yeah.
And we account for a certain amount of it.
Absolutely. And while I'm not saying I would say I'm worried about how the final boss goes, the final boss can be very treacherous, and it is a pretty significant time loss if I were to be killed there. So
that's also just kind of a momentum killer, dying to the final boss of an RPG and taking 10 minutes to get back to him.
Yeah.
We want to end on a good note.
So with a game that is this long and interconnected, that certainly must have been like a pretty difficult challenge for the community to figure out how to get through it so optimally. Could you tell me more about the steps that the process the community took for that? Who really helped make it happen?
Yeah, so a lot of like the initial routing was done by the Japanese community, routing the Famicom version of Dragon Quest IV. So when I started running it in like 2014, 2015, we were using a route that was pretty similar to theirs. But there's one major difference between Famicom and NES, which is that you can throw a holy water item at metal slimes and metal babbles and just kill them instantly. So a couple of years later, it's like me and Evil Ash and some other people were finding some like ways to optimize the metal grinds for the NES route. So and now we grab the Demon Hammer out of the Colossus, which is an item that has an increased critical hit rate. There's just some other equipment options that we do differently from the Japanese route because we don't have access to that easy way to kill them. And then Chapter 2 especially, like, they were mentioning that the metal slimes are a big reset point in Chapter 2. So there's been a lot of routing, especially over the last year, of just like safer ways to get through the chapter. Maybe it's a little slower on average, but it's better for races or marathons because you're almost guaranteed to actually make it through the chapter and not get stuck on metal slimes for an hour or longer, which can happen.
Yeah, and consistent strats like that are great for beginners too, I always feel.
Yeah, that too.
And if people do watch the run tomorrow and this is a game that's very important to so many people and to RPGs as a whole, and they're like, I want to give it a shot, where should they go?
So we've got a community Discord server that you can get to from pretty much any of the speedrun.com boards for any of the games. If you go in there, there's people in on the server that run pretty much all the games in the series, or we can point you toward information. We've got a Google Doc with a lot of information linked on it. We can point you toward like VODs of people who have done runs or Japanese runs if there aren't many English runs.
And TheCowness put together a really nice guide for anyone who's just learning the run. It's actually what I used when I learned the run.
Yeah, for Dragon Warrior 4 specifically.
Yeah, 4 years ago. So for any beginner, it's actually a really beautiful resource for learning what's a pretty complicated and intimidating run. It kind of brings it down to earth. You can learn it.
The community as a whole has been really fantastic, not only just sharing knowledge and resources on how to play the games really well, but just being overall encouraging in terms of new players coming along and progress that all of us make. Everyone's really excited when new discoveries get made, for instance, or things like that. So it's just in my experience, been a really great community to be a part of.
And most of us run multiple games in the series too, so there's a lot of collaboration and working together with pretty much everybody in the community.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out. I think right now it's scheduled to be in about 10 or so hours from now, tomorrow morning at our local time here. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. Before we head off, though, we do want to talk about some of the prizes that we do have open until the end of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee coming up right after this. First off, we have this very large Pikachu. Look at this big guy. Confirmed big guy. 24-inch Pikachu plush sent into us by Riesly. Thank you so much for that. We have another big guy sent into us by Ashton Prime. This 24-inch Gengar plush. Now, I'm going to rotate him around because the amount of heft this guy has is so much. Here.
Not just tall.
He's so good.
You ready?
Yeah.
Give him a fluff. Isn't
Ooh, yeah.
Right?
Solid.
You can give him a solid hug. And for a $10 minimum donation, that might be you giving him a hug. The third of our Pokemon prizes, this Pokemon mini backpack, also sent in to us by Ashen Prime. It's got a bunch of sleepy little Pokemon. I think you can see Bulbasaur here, all the starters, including Pikachu, Eevee, technically starters thanks to Let's Go. We have this metal Eevee right here. And the thing I like about this backpack a lot is that they say it's a mini backpack, but I've seen mini backpacks that are pretty much, like you can't put stuff in them, they're mostly for show. There's like a good amount of space in this one, I think. You could put a Switch in here, you could put your wallet and your phone, maybe a charger. There's a good amount of space to fit anything you need for a good day of Pokemon training. $10 minimum donation to win that.
Yeah, you can definitely fit your Pokedex in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I think if you'll all look under your seats, I've prepared a little surprise.
Oh.
Each of you do not receive because you have to donate to win them, but a mermaid pendant sent in to us by Heroic Replicas, $15 minimum donation to be entered in to win one of these, and we will be picking 3 winners. It is a very true-to-life replica, as Heroic Replicas always does, of the mermaid pendant from Stardew Valley.
Very cool.
That looks really amazing.
You could give it to someone to propose to them. That is not what I did here. I didn't think about it ahead of time. Thank you so much for everybody who sent in all of these prizes. And yeah, I think that's all. We have a couple more prizes, but I don't know where. Though, okay.
Oh boy.
I got my friend Whale Lord here. It says Bob on the side. That's not required. Thank you so much to Heroic Spirit Gamer for sending this in. We can't fit it on the camera. That is how big of a Wailord plush this Wailord is. $75 donation. And you don't have to do it all at once. As long as you get $75 in from the start of the marathon till the end, you'll be entered to win this not life-sized Wailord, but as close as they'll make it. Thank you so much for that. And our final grand prize, $250 community donation. As I said before, doesn't have to be all at once. Maybe you put a little bit towards some of the Dragon Warrior 4 incentives tomorrow. Maybe a little bit towards the Let's Go Pikachu incentives open right now. And you could win probably the most famous sword in the history of video games. I honestly can't think of another. And 5 materia that slot in and out. It looks so good. Every time I see it, I just want to do the pose. I think the RPG Limit Break staff banded together to make this one happen. It's such an incredible piece, and I don't know how well you can swing it around, but don't you want to give it a try? I'm being told you shouldn't do that. But there's only one way to find out, $250 cumulative donation. And with that, I think that's all I have for you all today. Thank you so much, the 3 of you, for joining me to chat a little bit about your run coming up tomorrow and talk about some prizes with me. And I think it's time for some Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
All right, thanks so much for that. It's good to hear about that interview and prize. And hello, everyone. My name is Stump. I use they, he pronouns, and I'll be your host for this next run. And that run being Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee, any percent. That'll be Etchy running that. Which one that is going to be, well, is still up to you, because there is a bid war still open until this run begins for which of those games we are going to play. We also have naming the hero and rival, so if you want to affect that, it's better get your donations in quick, because we are, well, it won't be long until that run's going. And we are here live from Salt Lake City, Utah, where we are raising money for NAMI, or the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI was formed in 1979 as a grassroots advocacy organization by a group of parents whose children suffered with serious mental illnesses, and they have maintained that focus to this day. And to take a look at the current status of those bid wars that are going to be for the beginning of this run. We have Evie ahead by quite a bit for choosing the game version. Giovanni currently ahead for the name of the hero. And, yeah. Interesting name for the rival. HQWHGADS. Gods or something like that. But yeah, you can still push something over the top if you want to, because those are open until we start this run. Still got Eevee with the game version. Well, I can't wait to see this run, but also, yeah, if anyone changes what's ahead in any of these. And, yeah, speaking of donations, we got $5 from Phantasy without a comment, and $10 from Korup with the message, "Keep up the good work, all." Yeah, thanks so much for both those. Well, let me see something here. We have a $119 donation from Corey saying, "Pika, Pika!" That has pushed the game version bid war to be a tie at the moment. So your donation could will make the difference of which of the two games we are going to be playing tonight. Both have $151 at the moment. And the hero, we still have Giovanni ahead of the second place choice of 1 by $24. And rival is still Wogods with $70.